Good morning, everyone. Guys, this morning I'm going to give you an update on the Taylor Swift attacks, and I'm going to mention something about the protests, more the counter protests, that have been happening in the UK that I don't think anyone's noticed, and also the connections with the Taylor Swift. Sorry guys, I've got something in my mouth. Sorry, with the connections with the Taylor Swift incident that nobody else has made. And I don't know whether people are being sloppy, whether reporters just don't know, or what's happening. But guys, before I go on, can you please give me a like and a share and subscribe to this channel? Really helps me out when you do that. So, Taylor Swift, what am I talking about? Obviously, for those of you who don't know, there was the Taylor Swift concerts had to be cancelled in Vienna. There was reports, and the police out there identified a threat, and the threat was credible. They went to this person's house and they found all sorts of stuff. They've also found that these two people who were going to plan an attack at this Taylor Swift concert, one of them actually started working there a couple of days ago, or maybe even a couple of weeks ago. So you see how the level of planning that these things are going to, and I've said it quite a while. Do we have people in our police service, in our in our military, in our government that are potentially sleeper agents, which is what you could you could say that this guy was a sleeper. You know what? He was a sleeper agent. The guy who was working for that venue was a sleeper agent in the definition that what a sleeper agent is. So all this stuff, it just shows a deeper level of planning and a deeper level of organisation. And these things will be being planned all over the world right now. Obviously not all of them are going to get executed, but right now there'll be people planning these attacks. And again, I keep saying this, it seems to me like there's a concerted effort to attack young girls. Now, from what we've seen recently, the Ariana Grande concert, the stabbing, in the United Kingdom. I still struggle to talk about it. This attack, if it had have happened. So there's definitely, a consensus that that's the way that these, terrorists, that they're attacking our young girls. But anyway, guys, what about these connections? Now, I found a connection between, where is it? I found a connection between the incident in, the potential incident, at the Taylor Swift concert and the 7/7 bombings in the United Kingdom. Now, I may be wrong. This is me speculating. This is my opinion. This is what I think, guys. All right. So let me tell you why I'm saying this and what my background is for this. When you're obviously, for those of you who don't know, I've spent a lot of time in the military. And one of the things you do when you're in the military, especially when you go to Northern Ireland, you learn how to make. Well, you don't learn. Well, you do. You learn how to make certain explosives. Now, I never did the full course. I didn't go away and learn how to do this as a actual arms technical officer or something, ammunition ATO, the guys who the bomb squad basically. I never did that. But what we did do in our unit, we did the search course, and you get told about key components and key materials that are used, and then you get told how these things are made. You never do them. It's not the top tier course. It's kind of the foundation course, and then you would go on to do further courses in that, which I didn't. But one of the things that I noticed was found in this potential attacker's home, and I'll just read you the article, guys. I'll just skip a load of it and I'll tell you the main bit. I'll put the link in the description. They also found hydrogen peroxide, homemade explosives, detonators, detonator cables at his apartment. He added explosives had been assembled. So I've just gone through that quickly, guys. The main ingredient there that I think is really telling is the hydrogen peroxide. Now, I only know of one. And again, there may be more, guys. I'm not an expert. There may be lots more. But using hydrogen peroxide, it's a very particular, as I understand it, it's a very particular method to make this sort of stuff. And that is what the 7/7 bombers in London, that is the same explosives that these guys used. So is there a connection there? Is there a connection with people who are controlling them? Is there a connection there with people who are training these people how to do this? I don't know, guys, but there's certainly that connection there, and I've not heard any mainstream media talking about it, probably because they just don't know. Sorry, guys, I keep getting things in my mouth. Anyway, also with the protests, and this is, this just came to me this morning, in fact last night, with these protests and counter-protests that are being planned, okay, first of all, if you've watched any of these protests, you'll see that they are pretty wild, okay? They're all over the place and they're chaotic. The counter-protesters, I mean the real counter-protesters, not those people who turn up with, knives and bats and stuff. The counter-protesters, who is funding them? Where do they get their banners from? Where do they get their placards from? All this stuff, and it just dawned on me last night. Who's printing this? How are they managing to print and distribute all this stuff so quickly? These counter-protesters must be ridiculously funded. So I'd be really, if I was an investigative journalist, which I'm not, but I think I'd be good at it. I'd be asking, where is their money coming from? And I'd find that out by saying, where is this kit stored? Who's producing it? Where's the invoices coming from? And I'd really be interested in finding out the trail of that money and where that money's coming from. Because, guys, somebody is paying for this. So somebody's paying for all this stuff to be made, all this stuff to be produced, all this stuff to be distributed. Also, when the people go down there, who's paying for their transport? Who's paying for their, I know a lot of this stuff will be paid for out of their own pockets. But, equally, a lot of money does go into these counter-protests. So I'd just be interested who is funding that, guys. Anyway, guys, I think that's it for this morning. Just a little update I wanted to give you on this, on the Taylor Swift attacks, if you can call them attacks, because they didn't happen. But that's really, that's something that nobody else has mentioned. It's something that I don't think anybody's put those dots together. Or maybe there's a media blackout on it because they don't want to make those connections. But guys, I'll put links in the description about all of this. And it's just one to think about, guys. I'll be doing another video later. I'm going to max the grid.